I mean by that is for a lot of exercises, I will isolate each half of my body. So, for example, for bicep curls, I will generally do one arm at a time. The reason for that is because I can really focus on the contraction of that one arm. I've also noticed that I can track the progressive overload easier with that arm, meaning I can track the weight that I'm using and the form that I'm using and the tempo I'm using. When I use two arms, I feel like sometimes my body can cheat, right? So when I break it down and just do one, I notice I can really devote all my attention on that one arm. It helps with lagging body parts. It helps with imbalances in body parts. I mean, as does just using dumbbells in general. Something I want to make clear when I do this is I don't alternate. So I don't do like one and then the other and then one and the other. The whole point is time under tension. So it would just be that one limb, right, over and over again. And then when that's done, in my head I would count the reps and do the same amount of reps on the opposite arm. I really implore you to try this with delts too, especially. Delts are a small muscle group, all of them. They don't need much weight to grow. So, and I see a lot of people cheating when they're doing delt work. So next time you're trying to do some shoulders, do them one arm at a time. See what happens. Do front raises, just one arm at a time. Really focusing on keeping your core tight, as it should be for every exercise that you do. And just do one arm at a time and then do the other arm. Another benefit with this, especially with legs, is you can really drop the weight. Legs are a huge muscle group. Quads, hamstrings, glutes, even calves, they are large muscles, so they do need more weight in general to grow. So instead of squatting 300-400 pounds, you could get on the leg press and do half of that or even less than half of that, and your risk to reward is better, in my opinion. I think you don't need to use as heavy of weights when you're doing one limb at a time, and you can get just as an effective, if not more effective, of an exercise. So deadlifts, a great example. I used to be big into deadlifting, typical barbell, standard stance, Romanian stance, all that. I think it's a great exercise. However, you need to be careful. I would say deadlifts and barbell deadlifts and barbell squats are, I would say, the highest risk to reward. I mean, most people who get injured from the gym, it's doing one of those two exercises. And, even if you're doing those exercises right, with enough progressive overload, you're going to need to do so much weight that, any little thing can tweak something and get scary real quick. And you don't want to have back or spine injuries. You just don't want to go down that path. It's a hard path to get off of once you get on it. Ask anyone with spine issues, knee issues as well. They talk to people that have meniscus tears and ACL tears and PCL tears. They will tell you it's ongoing. You don't just get surgery and do your PT and you're good. And that's arguably with all surgeries. But so yeah, instead of doing deadlifts with a barbell, I employ you to do a kettlebell or dumbbell and do one leg at a time, meaning one leg is on the ground and you're doing the deadlift motion, right? Working the hamstrings and the glutes. Core obviously tight. We're not arcing our back. Still keeping that neutral spine position. And the other leg goes up in the air. This is also great for core development as well, because you have to balance as you're doing it. And again, you can start super light. If you're warming up deadlifts with just the bar, which you should be, light warm-ups to get the blood in there, just do a 20-pound dumbbell, and do a bunch of reps until that feels comfortable. And then work your way up, right? Progressive overload. But, the reason I employ everyone to do more single limb training is, one, I think it's super safer, right? Nothing's 100% safe, but I think it's much safer than doing things both limbs at the same time. And there's certain exercises that I don't do this with. Bench pressing would be that. I don't do one arm at a time. I do see people do that, and that's fine. It just feels weird to me. It doesn't really feel like it's any safer. Maybe it's the opposite. For me, my body's like, no, don't be doing this. But even when I bench press, I'm doing dumbbells. I'm very rarely using a barbell to do bench press. And the reason for that is when you're using a barbell, it's a fixed range, it's fixed motion. So, if one of your arms is stronger than the other, it's going to naturally take over. And you're going to cause more of an imbalance. As opposed to dumbbells, you have weight on each side. Both arms, chest is going to have to do the same amount of work. So, bench pressing, I don't do single limb, but a ton of back work too. I'll do lat pull downs, single arm. Great. I mean, I really attribute a lot of my back development using single limb, and horizontal rows too. I think they're huge. One arm at a time. And I still will do two arm too, but when I do single limb, I can really drop that weight down and focus on the form, the contraction, and I'm not so nervous about being injured. I mean, fitness in general, no matter what you're doing, is about establishing that mind-body connection. I think when you break things down with single limbs at a time, you can really establish that easier. Put all your attention into what you're doing. We talk about it all the time on this channel, how there's spiritual sides to working out. And, it is a form of active meditation, meaning if you're lifting right, just like with meditation, thoughts that are not having to do with your workout or lifting, they'll come into your mind, and then they should just go right out just as fast as they come in. I mean, you can acknowledge them for what they are, and you let them pass. And the same is what the teachings of true meditation is, passive meditation, lotus stance meditation. So when you're lifting or working out, your thoughts, you should be focused on one thing, moving that thing from A to B. And everything else should just be background noise. Focusing on your breathing, like we've talked about. This is the way to make the most out of what you're doing in the gym, not just going through the motions. That's why in another previous video I talk about how you shouldn't look at working out or going to the gym as a chore, because if you do, your mind's not going to be in it. And if your mind's not in it, you might as well just not go. You're not going to get the type of progress that you want. We all have good days and bad days. I'm not saying every workout is going to be 100%, but you guys get what I'm trying to say here. It's zen. I'm not going to let the macho-ness of building muscle be hijacked. There's a lot of mind to this as well, and it's important to acknowledge that, and it's not talked about enough. That's one of the reasons I started this channel, is to give a different perspective of working out, a different perspective of fitness. Appreciate you guys working with me when it's night out like this. And seriously, thank you guys so much for liking and subscribing. It means so much. I so appreciate it. You help this channel grow. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to message me. I'll be happy to get back with you, either in a private message, or if you want me to make a video on something specific, I'm all for it. So feel free to send me a message, or write me comments on the videos that I have up now. I'll try to get back to all of them. So yeah, thank you guys again so much.